Something unusual is happening at Newcastle United, and it's not just another transfer rumour. Over the past few days, a quiet yet bold move behind the scenes at St. James' Park has caught the attention of those following the club closely. Discreet but deliberate, the board appears to be breaking one of its most rigid post-takeover principles. A move off script has been made, and by the looks of it, this could mark the beginning of a strategic shift nobody saw coming. Fans who follow Newcastle closely have already noticed it. Something is off pattern at the club, a movement that doesn't quite follow the script of previous transfer windows. Until now, the board had stuck to a clear plan, investing in youth, resale value and players who could grow within the sporting and financial project. That's how names like Isaac, Bruno Guimaraes, Botman, Livramento and others arrived. All young, all full of potential. But suddenly, a different kind of move is being considered. A clear exception to the rule. If you're a Newcastle fan and you're enjoying this content so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps our work and makes sure you stay updated on everything happening at the club. We bring you all the news firsthand, in a straightforward and honest way, always respecting the fans' intelligence. And what's coming up next in today's video might just change how Newcastle approaches future transfer windows. What's at stake here isn't just a signing, it's the start of a new approach. A change in mindset that could have a direct impact on the type of players Newcastle look to bring in to strengthen the squad. And this change, though subtle, is already being picked up by key voices in European sports journalism. According to David Ornstein, a respected reporter from The Athletic, Newcastle have just made a move that goes completely against the trend since the ownership changed, and that detail is turning heads across the market. Yes, you heard that right. In the middle of scouting young talents like João Pedro and Hugo Ekitike, both of whom had bids turned down, Newcastle have turned their attention to a completely different profile. According to Ornstein's exclusive report, published in The Athletic on the 22nd of July, the club submitted an official £25 million bid to Brentford for 28-year-old striker Yoane Wissa. The player, in fact, left Brentford's training camp in Portugal early to discuss his situation directly. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Wissa isn't just a good striker, he was, last season, the Premier League's top non-penalty scorer among all forwards. He netted 19 goals, all from open play. A remarkable stat that shows how decisive he can be at any club in the league. But what makes this transfer so significant is the fact that it breaks a very clear pattern. Since the January 2022 window, when the club was still fighting relegation, Newcastle have not paid a significant transfer fee for any player over the age of 25. This suggests the club is now open to being flexible as long as the target is an immediate and effective solution. And that's exactly what Yoane Wissa represents. A direct response to the exit of Callum Wilson and the urgent need to find someone who can share responsibilities with Alexander Isak, or even replace him when needed. Right now, the only options up front are Isak and young prospect Will Osula. And in a season that's shaping up to be long, intense and packed with fixtures, that gap could come at a high cost. Wissa offers a safer, more experienced alternative, and one with a proven Premier League record. Judging by the club's persistence, this could be one of Eddie Howe's boldest moves in this window. But does this choice for an older player mean a complete shift in the club's transfer philosophy? According to sources close to the board, the answer is no. What's happening here is a one-off, a strategic move in response to a specific need. The focus on young talent remains a priority. But when there are no viable options in that age group, the club is willing to be pragmatic. It's a sign of maturity, adaptability and, most of all, ambition. Because what's at stake now isn't just the future, it's also the present. And Newcastle know that to compete at the top, sometimes you need to put the ideal plan aside and deal with the reality in front of you. If you appreciate this kind of analysis, now's the perfect time to subscribe to the channel. We don't work off guesswork, everything we bring is based on solid sources. And this update, reported by David Ornstein in The Athletic, is no exception. Your subscription allows us to keep growing and delivering high-quality content with respect and credibility for the Newcastle fanbase. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's your chance. Back to the main story. Another key point in this potential deal is with his own stance. According to Ornstein, the player has shown a clear desire to join Newcastle. He returned early from Brentford's training camp specifically to meet with club directors and facilitate the transfer. That shows not just professionalism, but a genuine wish to wear the black and white shirt. A small detail that could be a game changer in the outcome of these negotiations. When the player wants to come, everything gets easier. And in this case, Newcastle could be on the verge of landing a major win. Brentford, on the other hand, are holding firm. The initial £25 million bid was rejected, which is quite normal in this kind of negotiation. But behind the scenes, talks are still ongoing, and more importantly, personal terms wouldn't be a problem. So right now the only real obstacle is the transfer fee. The expectation is that Newcastle will return with an improved offer in the coming days. And if that happens, the chances of a deal being done rise significantly. After all, we're talking about a striker who seems to be nearing the end of his cycle at his current club and has already expressed a strong desire to move on. This move for Wissa might just be the beginning of a more balanced strategy at Newcastle, one where the club still values youth but acknowledges that experience is just as essential in certain scenarios. And the Premier League is a competition where this matters a lot. With a packed calendar, intense matches and constant pressure, having seasoned players with the right mindset can make all the difference when it comes to closing out games and maintaining consistency across the season. Of course, it's still too early to say whether this marks a permanent shift in transfer strategy, but the very fact that the club is willing to make exceptions strategically already shows important progress. It's not about abandoning the original plan, it's about adjusting it to reality. And for any club aiming to remain competitive at the highest level, that's absolutely vital. Newcastle are clearly learning from recent seasons, and they're showing they're ready to tweak their approach when the moment demands it. That's the sign of a smart football operation. Before we get into more behind-the-scenes updates, make sure to turn on the notification bell. That way you'll get alerted every time a new video drops. This is especially crucial during the transfer window when news breaks fast and changes even faster. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and be the first to know what's happening with Newcastle, you need to be following us closely in real time. Back to the squad, the arrival of Wissa would also give Eddie Howe more tactical options. The player can operate as a central striker or out wide. This versatility is something the manager truly values, especially since he often adapts his formations depending on the opponent. With Wissa alongside Isaac, the team could switch between a more aggressive 4-4-2 or a balanced 4-3-3, not to mention using Wissa as a reference point in matches where more physical presence is needed in the box. While Wissa may not be captain material, he's seen as a mature figure who can help keep the squad steady. His experience in both French football and the Premier League gives him a solid foundation to contribute off the pitch as well. And in a season set to be mentally and physically demanding, that could prove crucial. It's also worth mentioning Wissa's impressive minutes per goal average. Even without being a guaranteed starter for most of last season, he maintained remarkable consistency. That speaks volumes about his ability to make an impact. In a club like Newcastle, who are likely to be competing on multiple fronts, having a forward who can deliver even off the bench is a luxury not many clubs have. Eddie Howe knows this, and that's why he's pushing hard for the board to get the deal over the line. If you're still not subscribed, now is the perfect time. We're expecting new developments on this transfer very soon. And as always, you'll find everything here first with detailed analysis, behind-the-scenes insights, fan reactions, and much more. So hit that subscribe button now, turn on notifications, and become part of our growing community. Your support is what helps this channel thrive and continue delivering top-tier Newcastle United coverage. To wrap things up, this is the kind of deal that requires patience, but everything suggests both sides are keen to make it happen. And if it does go through, Newcastle won't just be strengthening the squad, they'll be sending a clear message to the market. They're ready to be flexible when the moment calls for it, a clear sign of a club that's maturing and of a season ahead that promises much more than just good intentions.